Hey there, teachers. Tonight we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, and that is the assessment tool in Schoology. Now, I'm a little worried about this one just because there's so many things to do in the assessment tool in Schoology. I've done so many different PDs on it. There's going to be a lot of clicks and a lot of stuff going on. So I'm going to try to focus not on the granular, like, hey, here's how we do this and this and this, as much as here are the types of things we can do with that assessment tool in Schoology. As I said, I've talked about it a lot before, but we're going to use it in different ways tonight. We're going to use Schoology assessments for more than assessments. And so here's kind of what we're getting at with this. Um, why would I do this? Well, here's why I would do this. The cool thing about the Schoology assessment tool is that you build it directly into Schoology. Now that's a con for some. You have to build the questions there, but the pro is that it's very easy for the students to take the assessment. The student workflow is great. The kid starts assessment, answers the questions, submits the assessment. So it's really good workflow. So the work I have to do to build the assessment is easily paid back with how easy it is for the kids to respond. Then the other thing is some of those questions will actually grade for you. So I've done the work to make said assessment. Many of those questions will grade for me. So the time I spent making it will be paid back, not having to grade it. It also works well with multiple devices. I think the assessment maker works beautifully in with iPads. We make a lot of Google things sometimes, and sometimes those don't always work well on iPads. But the Schoology assessments play really nice on an iPad and that touchscreen device. I already said easy student workflow. I also like easy teacher accountability because it's an assessment. There's a grade page there. It tells you who took it, when they took it, how long they took it, and it gives you all that data. So it's great for e-learning, great a way to see who has interacted with this piece you've made. And then also like it integrates nicely with the gradebook. I can use other pieces of software to create things for my students, but if I make it in Schoology, it plays nicely for them. It's easier for me to grade, and the grades go right to my gradebook. You can't beat that. So again, it may take some extra work to make some questions and create things in Schoology, but it's that whole integration down the road that makes all that time worthwhile. And then you can save these year after year after year after year. So you start making a test here or there, or tonight, as we're talking about activities or homework or e-learning, you've got those in the bag for next time you need them. And then my final reason I like this tool is practicing different types of questions and device manipulation. So tech literacy, making sure the kids can drag and drop and click and do all the different types of questions they may have to on other types of assessments. All right. So as I've already warned, we're going to be clicking through a lot of stuff, so bear with me. I'm going to try to cover all this information, but mainly give you ideas of what you can do. So if you go to my Schoology page and you go to Schoology Help, there's lots of help in here already for assessments. I'm not going to go into every single question type tonight, but I wanted you to show you that if you come in here and you go to Schoology slide presentations, I believe the first thing on here, my computer loads up, is a Schoology assessments presentation. It will go through every single question type. There's videos, there's all kinds of stuff. So I'm not going to go dig down into the assessments tonight. I'm going to talk about different ways to use it, but you have all these presentations and things at your fingertips if you want to see more about the assessment piece itself. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about the different things we can do with this. So I'm going to go into my course, and I'm going to go right here. And let's first talk about using the assessment piece for homework. All right. So that's kind of the concept tonight. We know we can make tests with it, but what about for other things other than tests? Now, before we get too much further, I want to point out here that Schoology has the test quiz maker and the assessment maker. Test quiz is old, assessment maker is the new one. Test quiz will go away eventually, and that's fine. Today I spent a lot of time taking some of my old test quizzes and turning them into assessments. Schoology will automatically convert them for you. But it's nice to work with the assessment feature from here on out because there's way more question types and a lot more things you can do with the assessment maker. Anyway, back to what we were talking about, doing homework with the assessment maker. So why would I do that? Let's see here. I'm going to go into my quiz test assessment. And I'm going to come down here to, I've got several of these in here, I told you, to suffer a sample homework assignment. Now, you know, the first time we make an assessment in Schoology, we go to the setup page. We put whatever directions and set up whatever settings we want. I'm not going to worry too much about that tonight. I'll save that for other PDs. But this is where I put the directions. This is where I put a picture that has something to do with the homework assignment and all those sorts of things. But let's go into questions. So here's why I would use this for homework. I want you to look at all the question types that are already built, baked right into this piece of software. So if you're going to give the kids a worksheet that has multiple choice or true false or matching or any of those sorts of things, you have those question types right here. And you could easily build that worksheet right into the assessment maker. Now, why would you want to do that if you already have said worksheet? Well, you got to make it interactive digitally somehow. And so I like to copy paste. I like to bring those questions in. You can simply go to multiple choice question here. And if you have a question typed up somewhere else already, you can come in here and use Control C to copy and then Control V to paste your question in here, and you can build your new multiple choice question. It does take some setup, as we talked about before, but because you choose what the correct answers are, it now grades for you. So you take that 10 question worksheet you were going to give, and it may take you 10, 15, 20 minutes to recreate it as a Schoology assessment, but now you don't have to grade it. When you come back in, and I don't have any test students that have taken this here yet, but when you come back in, it will show you the attempts, their points, when they took it, when the last time they modified it, and how long it took them to take this test. So that's kind of the beauty of the time you spent adding those questions into Schoology. It will now grade for you. My favorite thing was taking some of my little worksheets for science, and if I couldn't think of a great activity, great digital activity, I simply designed them as an assessment. And the next day, I didn't get a piece of paper back. I didn't get a digital submission in an inbox or in a Google Drive or anywhere. I got it right back here as a Schoology assessment. I had a grade attached to it. The grade would sync to my grade book. I love that. So I like it for homework. And you get that instant feedback. If you give 10 questions and the class average is 9 out of 10, you know right then and there that students understand the concept for the night before, and you can move on. All right, so as I said, it takes some steps, but you will receive scores, not papers at the end of this, and then copy paste is your friend. That's a good way to build stuff. So let's look at this first question here. I'm going to click preview. And so here's the sample question I made. This is a labeling question. This is a really good question type to use as a homework, especially for a science. You could use it, I've seen it for health class. It's nice because the entire homework assignment could be this one question right here. I've got one picture to label, and it's worth however many points, however many labels there are for this. So as a teacher, again, when you're thinking about creating this as homework, we just have to put one picture on and make the labels, and so that might not take you a whole lot of time, and that's a great little homework assignment. So how did we do this? So again, here are the question types in here. I'm not going to explain all of them to you, but I am going to show you this one because this is a nice one, and sometimes it's kind of confusing to folks. This is label image. And so when I come to label image and it opens up, you start with the question setup here. And so I might come in here, and a lot of times I like to make my font a little bit bigger so it's easier for the kids to see. And I will say something like label the picture below by dragging the names to the right place. Whatever you want to put in there. You could put a picture in here. You could put whatever you want in the instructions, but that's basically the directions for this assignment. Now, this is a label assignment, so really the question is in the picture itself. So I'm going to upload image. I'm going to hit the plus and choose the image from my device. I'm going to come over here, and there's my cell label I picked out today. Boom, there it is. Okay. Now, how did I get that label? I just went to the internet and typed cell label and found that one, and it was a really good picture. Now, you won't always find pictures that work for you the first time. We'll discuss that here in a second. But voila, I've got that label. So I set up the question. There's my picture. I need some response boxes. So we hit plus response box. And we drag this bad boy right to where we need it. And again, notice the picture I chose is very, very handy for this. So I'm going to put these labels on here where I need them. And that's it. I'm going to add all the response boxes. Now I'm going to come down here to possible responses. And let's start putting the correct answers. Looks like we have a cell wall. And it looks like we have a cell membrane. I'll just do those two for right now. So we set up the question up here. We put the picture in, we add the response boxes, we chose the proper responses, and then we come down here and we simply drag these to the correct spot. And because you're setting all of that up, it will grade for you. All right. Some other things I want to point out on this is if you're doing something like labeling the picture, you might turn on duplicate responses. And what that does is it makes it so the label doesn't go away. I guess I can show you that. If I turn on duplicate responses, even though I've used cell wall, it still exists down here. Sometimes that can make your questions a little trickier, so students can't figure it out by a process of elimination. Other thing I think I would turn on down here is partial match. If you have them labeling in this question right now, I've got two things. I want them to get a point for everything they label, not have to just get them all right. But you might want it a different way. So that's partial match or exact match. The other thing, if you'll notice, my cell membrane doesn't quite fit. So if I go to additional setup options and I take the width of that answer box and I change it to 150 pixels, it should fit perfectly. There it is. So that is my question. I save. And I can come down here and preview my question, back into the edit menu, and then click preview. And there is my question. The students would simply drag these bad boys up here to label this. This is a really, really, really great homework assignment for students for many different subjects. It wasn't too hard to make because I'm literally just going to make one drawing, one label for the entire homework assignment, and that will grade for me. All right. So that is one easy type of homework assignment. So the other thing I want to point out is I showed you, or I talked to you about getting that label off the internet, that picture of that plant. Well, what if I can't find a picture that works really, really nice like that one? Well, for that answer right here, I'm going to show you Google Drawing. And I've showed you this several times. I'll do another PD on Google Drawing. It's another piece of software, but it's my baby. I love using for assessments. If you go into your Google Drive and then click New, and instead of choosing all the software you are already familiar with, Docs, oh, mine's taking forever to load. Choose New. Instead of choosing Docs, Sheets, Slides, Forms, if you click More, there's Google Drawings right there. Google Drawings is awesome piece of software. I'm going to come back to one I've already got made because you can take a picture off the internet and simply copy and paste it right in here to this screen. So Google Drawing is nice because you can insert words, you can shrink things up, you can doctor this picture up to do whatever you want with it. So in this case, I want to make a label question for a homework assignment, but I couldn't find a really good picture that worked for me. The only one I could find already had the answers for it. Well, that's very easy. I'm going to come up here to Shapes, and I'm going to put a box on this bad boy. I'm going to make that box white, and I'm going to make the line transparent so it blends in the background. I'm going to copy that and paste. Control C, Control V, Control V again, and I'm going to keep pasting white boxes all over here. Paste until I've covered all that up. Now my picture is exactly the way I want it. I make sure that my picture is cropped the way I want, and I'm going to go File, Download as a PNG or a JPEG. So I'm going to choose a PNG. I'm going to download this as a picture, and let's come back in here and let's make another label image question. I'm not going to type the answer or the directions this time. I'm going to go straight to upload image to show you what we did. And there's my plant drawing. Okay. And voila. So now I have this new drawing that I can easily add response boxes to and make a question for. So even though I couldn't find a question on the internet or a picture on the internet that worked for me, I was able to put it into Google Drawing and kind of doctor it up and make it what I want. Again, great for homework, great for all kinds of stuff. Let me show you one more little trick with Google Drawing here. So let's say you have a triangle and you want to do the area of a triangle, and you go find a nice triangle picture on the internet, or you can come up here to Shapes in Google Drawing and make your own triangle, however you'd like to do it. But you want to make a quiz, a test, a homework assignment, a bell ringer, something with lots of triangles on it. So I make one, I file, I download, and voila, I make a picture of that. Now, what I did here is I put a text box. I can come in here and change the numbers on my text box, file, and download it again. And I can make real quick 3, 4, 5, 6 very similar questions and download them. I'm going to save my original Google drawing up here of triangle, but every time I download one of these, it makes a separate JPEG, a separate picture file that I can put into that test. So it's really quick and easy to create one picture or create one sort of base drawing in here and then doctor it up and download it every time you doctor it up. And so if you're making a homework assignment where you have 10 questions of the same thing, you don't have to find 10 separate pictures. You can doctor it up in Google Drawing. Last thing I want to talk to you about homework assignments and pictures is the snip tool. And so actually, let me show you this assignment out here. So this was from a high school algebra class, and I looked at it and I go, ooh, that should be really easy to make. And we made it in probably 10 minutes. Because again, that's what we're trying to do here. We want to make this stuff digital. We want to make it so it grades for us, but we don't want to have to type and type and type and type and type to create the assignments. So I'm going to preview this assignment and show you what I did. I started by putting some videos on here. So we had some videos from Khan Academy that we embedded right into the assignment. That's another really cool thing, and we'll talk about this here in a second, about the assessment piece. Great for e-learning, great for homework, because you can put videos right into this assessment. So if you taught a lesson today, you can put your video or put a Khan Academy or YouTube video in there to give the kids extra help at home or a reminder of how to do that assignment. Then when we go to the assignments here, there it is. They have to find the slope, the rise, the run, and slope of that line. So what we did for this particular type of question, these are fill in the blank text. I really like fill in the blank text because you put a space here and the kids put the answer right in the space. It has to be exact. So this doesn't work for every question type, but it's really nice for math. I've seen some teachers do some grammar and some spelling stuff before, because whatever you type into the box as a teacher is exactly what the kids have to type in the box to get the points right. That's why it works nicely for math. If the answer is 5, they got to put 5 in the box, nothing else. So we can talk about that in a second, but I want to point out these little diagrams here. We got pictures again. You're like, man, how did we get that in there? That would take forever to do. No, not really at all. All we did was go in here, and this is an assignment, a worksheet, a PDF the teacher already had, or something that they created on Infinite Pre-Algebra. So all I did is go in here and I used the snip tool on my device. So on a Windows device, it's Shift, Windows, and S. And I believe on your Chromebook, it's Shift, Control, and Switch window. But when you do that, it allows you to snip that picture right there. So once I have snipped that picture, that will save to my clipboard on my machine. Let's do that again. Let's snip that. All right, and it's on my other screen. So there's my picture. I can easily save that. Done. And then, as you might have guessed, I simply come back in here into Schoology when I'm making a question, and all I have to do is insert that picture right into the question. So let's open this one I've already made. There it is. There's a picture. I've already got into the picture. And all I did for this particular type of question, so let's dig under the hood a little bit again. This is a fill in the blank text. So I went up here to image and chose my picture from my device. And that's why I put this picture, that snipped picture, right into here. For the question type, all I did was type rise. And then it says right up here to create a blank. When you're doing fill in the blank text, you just put an underscore. And every time you put an underscore, it makes a blank down here. So I put rise, shift underscore, run, shift underscore, slope, shift underscore. And it made these 3 spots right down here. You come down here as the teacher and you plug in the answer, what the answer should be, and that's how it grades for you. One other trick I learned in the last year too is if you come down here to the bottom where it says maximum length characters, I think by default it's 40, and those lines are really, really, really long. And sometimes those are bad because kids might put extra zeros, extra symbols, extra things, and they might mess up the answer because they type centimeters or they type something else. Remember, fill in the blank text has to be exact to get it right. That's why it's really nice for numbers. But I also like to go that extra step and come down here and tell it exactly how many characters can go into that box, and that will prevent my kids from hitting 2.0 or something else that might make it wrong. So that was down here in the maximum length characters. And then again, partial match, you might turn on this one. The teacher did not, because they have to get the rise and the run to get the slope. Now, the last thing I want to point out here is all I did to make these very quick too. Once I snipped all my pictures, I went ahead and copied this question setup. So I Control C, I highlighted here and I use my copy, Control C. And now I come down here to fill in the blank text and watch this. There's a new blank, paste, there's that rise, run, slope. Remember, every single question looked almost exactly the same. Change it to one character, boom. And let's come down here and insert. And I'm going to choose that one I just snipped. And there it is. There we go. And so that's how quick it is to make a question. I snipped all 10 questions for this, and then I just copied and pasted this question setup because the question setup was the same for every question. And I just pasted the correct graph for each question on there. So it took about 10 minutes to make this question type. Very, very, very easy. Let's preview the whole thing just to show you. And again, this would be a homework assignment. This used to be a worksheet, and you saw the picture of the worksheet up here. That's the original worksheet. And now in Schoology, it looks like this. There's our video. We added our video to it. Question 1, rise, run, slope. Question 2, rise, run, slope. And the kids simply go through and answer all these, click next, and submit. So now you've taken that worksheet in under 10 minutes, turned it digital. You've added video to it to help your kids. It grades for them, so you get instant feedback, and you have it forever and ever and ever. If you have an e-learning day, it's really easy to assign. So that's a lot of things to talk about there for doing homework, but that's kind of the general idea here is any type of question you have, even though it's not an assessment, it can be a 10-point assignment. You can use the test maker to help make it for you. All right, so let's talk about bell ringers and mini assessments real quick. I really like using the assessment piece for this too. Really, the reason I liked it is because it was quick. I like to ask a few questions every day, and I hated handing out half sheets of paper and getting them back and grading and doing all that. I trained my kids to open their device, go to Monday bell ringer, and start Monday bell ringer. And so they had this routine where they walked in, opened the device, and went right to it, and I could take attendance and do the things I needed to take. So let's go look at some of my bell ringers I've done in here in the past. And let's come in here to a quiz test assessment again. And let's go in here to, here we go. Here's a bell ringer I made in the past. So some of these I made before, I've made them better since then. This was definitely one of them. And so there's my bell ringer. I put little pictures on them. I put the date so the kids know what they're getting into. And I had kids every day, if I forgot to put a bell ringer in, they would walk in immediately and go, is there a bell ringer today? You need to post a bell ringer today. So I had to make sure I had a bell ringer. When I did these the first time, I made these short answer. Now, short answer will not grade for you, but there's nothing wrong with this. You might want your homework this way. You might want your homework short answer. That's okay. It won't grade it for you, but you're still making it digital. You can still put pictures. You still have it created. You can still see the students' work from afar. So my originals were not fill in the blank. I had to grade them for them. But in this case, we were doing these together. I gave them 2 problems on the board while I was taking attendance. They did them. They turned them in. I could see that they did them, but we're going to go over them together on the board. So I didn't really care how this was graded because we really weren't grading it. So that's why I kept these as short answer. But let's say I wanted to take this question and I wanted to grade for me. I wanted it as a bell ringer that I could get some quick feedback and some quick points, or homework assignment where I get quick feedback or quick points. I'm going to take the original question I made, and I'm going to Control C, and I'm going to copy all that stuff. And now I'm going to make, just like we talked about before, a fill in the blank text. I love fill in the blank text because you have to come up with the answer as a student. There we go. So there's my original question. I'm going to put an enter in here, and remember that shift underscore. that's how I get my response box. And try this again. Oh, hit the wrong button. Shift underscore. So there's my response box. All right, and here's my response box down here in the answer. Now, I will tell you one thing you're going to want to do sometimes is in this particular case, it's asking about a measurement. And so then the kids aren't quite sure, do I put 28.6 pounds in the box? Do I put the label? How do I put that? Well, a lot of times I just hit the space up here and I put the label right after the box. So the label is right after the box in the answer. And that's important because if the computer is going to grade it for me, I need an answer that can't be misconstrued, misspelled, too many spaces, too many characters. I need it something the computer can grade. So in this case, it's just going to be, I believe, 28.6. Don't quote me if I'm wrong there. I'm doing this on the fly. So I'm going to put my answer in there. And that is the right answer. The kids have to get that to get it correct. And I'm even going to come down here and make this 4 characters. Oop, not 74, 4. Why? The 2, the 8, the period, and the 6. And that keeps the kid from putting pounds or something else in the box because it only allows 4 characters. I might even say in my directions up here, round to the nearest 10th. Whatever extra directions you need to give, definitely put them in your question so that you get one answer only, and the system will grade for you. So this would be great as a homework assignment right here. This would be great as a bell ringer, and I'd get a quick score because it would grade for me. And I could easily see what we needed to do in math that day, whether we need to review last night's homework assignment or do something different. I love giving 3, 4, 5 math questions every now and then because I knew it could be done quick with the Schoology assessment piece. And I knew I could get that feedback really, really quick. The other thing I like about this is the student feedback. Let's say this is a bell ringer that maybe I'm not grading technically. By putting 28.6 in here, the kid's going to take it and they're going to say, it's going to tell them whether they got it right or wrong. And I can't tell you how many times I'd have kids do a bell ringer, they missed it, and they're like, Mr. Spradlin, it says the answer is 3, I got 4, why? And that's perfect because as soon as I'm done with the attendance or whatever I'm doing, we're going to go over those answers, and I've got them engaged, I've got them hooked already. Now they want to see why the answer is what's on there. Not only they know they're wrong, but they know the new answer, and some of them might go back and look and try to figure it out. So that's why I loved using these for bell ringers. All right, I'm going to cancel that one, and I think, oh, I do want to show you one other bell ringer here. My other bell ringer I really, really liked was this bad boy. So I used to take some read works or common lit articles, and I would copy, paste, or embed them. There's several different ways to do this, but I would stick them right into a bell ringer. So in this case, I think I copied and pasted it. So there's my article, and then the kids would come in here and answer questions about their article. And a lot of times they were fill in the blank, multiple choice. Again, they would grade for me. And I loved this. The reason I did this is because I was trying to promote reading nonfiction text for my students, prepping them for state testing and helping them to be better readers at nonfiction text. But I chose articles that fit my content as well. And so I loved it because these are really pretty easy articles. They were on grade level, and I could give 5 or 6 points every single day. It supported reading. It supported me. It was an awesome little bell ringer. And it didn't take a whole lot of time because the article's right there in the test. They took it, they answered it, and they moved on. And I gave points for that every single day. That was kind of fun. Now, let me show you how I did that because I did do something a little tricky in here. So I'm going to go back into my practice test. Now, you can copy and paste articles, but one thing I like to do, let's go to my sample homework assignment here. And again, you can do this for homework too. Homework could be read this article and answer these questions. So you will see that I have a read works question or article already posted right in here. In Schoology, sorry, this is Common Lit. There's a spot here that says add text. When you add text, it adds a page by itself, and you can very easily come in here and add something. But you can also add a text piece right to a question, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do here. Let's go to this one right here. You can add the text right to the question. Now, sometimes copy paste will work. So copy paste is nice. I like mine here because I've got the scroll bar and all that fun stuff on it. So let's get rid of it to show you what I did. I did something a little tricky here. So in my Google Drive, and we might have to have another training on this sometime, but in my Google Drive, I have tons of these PDFs I've downloaded. And because they're PDFs, I can go click one of them, like this What is Earth here, and I've got it in my Google Drive. I put it in my Google Drive. Now it exists on the internet. I'm going to click the three dots in the corner to open a new window. And once I do this, it's going to give me another three dots. And there we go. Give me another three dots. And it's going to give me embed item. So this is an embed code. So because it's on Google Drive, it's on the internet, which means I can take this embed code. I just copied it, and I can come back into Schoology. And right here under source, I can paste that embed code and click OK. And it will embed that with the scroll bars and everything right into my question. So I really, 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 really like that. Now, if you want to get super tricky, if we come back to that source, this is an embed code. What an embed code is it's basically directions for how to take that internet object and put it onto your page. So you might have guessed, if I want this slightly bigger, I can come over here and I can change this. So I'm going to change this to 960. I'm going to double that height. And I'm going to change this to 1280 and double that width. And if I do that, you're going to see that it makes that article much bigger in my page for the kids to see. All right. So I can do this on a text page by itself. I can do it right into a question too. I would simply come down here below the article and type a question about the article. And then I could have multiple choice. I could have whatever kind of question I wanted with this. Now let's come up and preview and see what this looks like. My computer's moving slow because I've got all of this embedding going on. All right, preview question. There's my article. And right at the bottom is my fake question and my answers the kids could do. So that's really, really nice too. I will say when you're doing an assessment, let me just show you preview here. When you're doing an assessment in Schoology, all the questions are down here on this little navigation button. You can navigate between these tabs. So if you have an article on one question, you can always go backwards to read the article again. You can have an article first and then questions, or sometimes I just put the article on every question. It's just a matter of copy and paste. I just put the article right there on every question so they don't have to go backwards and forward. So really easy to add articles to an assessment so you can answer questions. All right. Now, the last thing I want to point out to you for bell ringers is this. So in my training course, I want to show you, actually, I guess I need to show you this first. So I want you to look at this old CFAs some teachers made last year. So I'm going to take these math CFAs from August. And what these were small standards-based assessments. If I was still teaching math, I would probably do my own 4 or 5 questions every day, or every week maybe, just to see where we're at on the standards. But you'll notice the standards are attached to these questions. And how I did that was when I made my question in here, wait for this to load. When I made my question, and again, I did a lot of copy paste. I went to the Indiana Department of Education specs to see exactly how they wanted me to ask these questions. That way I can ask my kids questions the way they're going to be asked on other things. And down here for learning objectives, I just hit plus and I went to state standards and I followed that menu to choose my standard right here from the Indiana standards. So you can attach standards to every single question. Here's what's cool about that. So let's say you're giving 4 or 5 questions every week about a particular standard and you've mapped them. In Schoology, you have this little guy here called Mastery. And I did a little kindergarten practice there today with some 6th graders to get them used to Schoology. So you'll see their scores in here. But anytime you've attached a standard to a question, it will give you the student's running percentage on that standard. It will give you the class average, and it will give you their percentage on that standard. You'll see we skipped a few questions here. This is just a practice test. But if a kid would answer more questions about that standard, it would update that average. You can also come in here and change the mastery settings to whatever percentage you feel or you think mastery should be, but that's really, really nice. So now not only am I given a bell ringer, Not only are my kids engaged as soon as they get into class, it's quick, they can answer, I get the immediate feedback. But if I take that step to attach the standards too, now at the end of the week as a teacher, I have my own little data dashboard here too of where I'm at on those standards. Don't have to give a big assessment, just a mini 4 or 5 questions, 3 questions, 2 questions if you want, just to see where they're at on a topic and practice different question types. All right. So we're getting out of time here, but I think we've covered a lot of good things. Let's keep going with 2 more main topics. And the other main topic I want to point out is e-learning. So I think this is tailor-made for e-learning too, because if I am doing e-learning, I don't want them to have to open a Google Doc or open a Google Slide or open something else at home and mine won't open or mine looks funny or blah, 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 blah. That whole idea that I build it in the Schoology Assessment and it opens right in Schoology Assessment means my kids are going to be able to open this at home really, really nicely. And I like it too because if I want to put videos in the assessment, I can. I want to put text in the assessment, I can. If I want to put links somewhere, I can. I don't have to make all these pieces and parts separate. I can make them all as one homework assignment. So here's a probability lesson I made for e-learning last year, and this was to take the place of my lesson. So the kids were home. This is not a test at all. This is not even really homework. I just want to see that the kids are doing it. So what I did is I started with the Indiana standards here. And then I embedded a video right into this. And in this case, I embedded a video of me teaching probability. And just like I would normally teach math, after I taught a mini lesson here, I've got a couple questions the kids can do on their own. And then I've got another video about a more complex version of this. And then a couple easy questions. And then another complex video and another couple easy questions. I might make a separate homework assignment, but this is my lesson on the day I'm missing. And what I like about it, it has the questions, it has the videos, and if I go to grading right here, and again, no one's taken this since this is practice, but you would see the number of attempts, you would see the status that is turned in or they're working on it, you would see the last time they modified, you'd see their score if you had it set up to score, and you'd see how long they took on it. So I want you to think about this from an e-learning standpoint. Rather than waiting to see what they turn in, you can actually sit here on your computer and make sure they're doing things and they're involved in it. So in this case, the video is my actual lesson. I can see who's opened my actual lesson and done those questions. I can go here and look at students' individual questions. I can look at questions that students, the whole class struggles with too. But in this case, I'm using it for this accountability piece here. I want to make sure kids have opened it. And I can email a kid and say, hey, you still haven't opened today's lesson. You need to go open that and do that. So that's why I like it for e-learning as well. Now, so your question might be, well, how do you put a video into your assignment? So I'm going to come down back to this sample homework assignment. And let's just do one of those where we put a video. I think this is an easy e-learning. If you have to pivot to e-learning, especially on a snow day, grab a nice video off of YouTube or something you like, add 9-10 questions about it, and then put that right here into the assessment piece. So I'm going to come down here and I'll just choose a multiple choice question. And I want to show you that in the question, I can build my question here. I can put pictures in here, all that. But in the question body itself, up here I have a media player. And if I choose the tools here, I can upload audio, record audio right into it. I can upload video, record video right into it. Record video is cool because I simply click record and I record me talking about a concept right there for the kids. That's easy. You're recording your own video. But maybe you've made a screen capture video or another video or found something on YouTube that you want the students to have. So here's how we're going to do that. I'm going to show you the Science of Lunch video on YouTube. And I'm going to copy my video URL on YouTube. And I'm going to come back into Schoology. And now I'm going to upload a video. Now, we probably don't have video files. We don't really send and receive video files anymore because everything's streaming. So instead of clicking to add video here, I'm going to choose more options. And you'll notice it says URL. That's a website. So there's my URL for that YouTube video. I'm going to click OK. It's going to pop up here in the preview window. There it is. I click OK, and I have a video player right in my question. So when the kids take the question, they can actually play the video and answer the question right there. So really easy way to add a video to your questions. You can add the same video for every question if you want, or remember, the kids can use the navigation at the bottom to go back to the video, watch it again, go back to the questions. I know a lot of teachers like to use Edpuzzle, and they like to add questions to their videos. I like to go about it the other way. I like to use the Schoology Assessment Maker and add video to my questions. I have all these question types already at my fingertips. It syncs to my gradebook. I know the kids can take them. It's all connected. It all works. And I simply just dump my video into this tool instead of taking it out somewhere else. So I like that for e-learning too. Last thing I want to talk about today is digital activities. So we talked a little bit about bell ringers earlier, and you don't have to do big fancy activities. You don't have to grade it. You can go over little things together. Even though these are assessments, they can be ungraded. They can be little to no points. But one thing I like about it is these play very, very nice on an iPad. Uh, Not all software plays wonderfully on an iPad, but these assessments here do. So for Font and Spinell recently, we've been trying to figure out the best way to make some activities for K1-2 on the iPads. So one popular activity is word sort. Now, you'll have to bear with me. I'm on a computer, not an iPad, so mine won't be as smooth, but the iPad does really nice on this. So what I did here was we wanted the kids to do this really quick word sort activity. When they start it, what we've got here is we've got letters, and they are sorting these to make words. And so it's the alphabet board that a lot of teachers use all the time. Now, here's the way I designed this, and here's what I want you to take away from tonight. Even though this is the assessment maker, you've got a platform here with different question types. You can do what you want with it. If your idea works with the question types and the tools in front of you, do it. So obviously it was not meant to do what I'm doing right here, but it works. It plays nicely for the kids and it's easy. And so what we do is we have them make a word, and then we come down here to the next question. And this is called a highlight image question. And you can put a picture on here, and you might have guessed I made this picture on Google Drawing. And pardon me, I'm with my mouse, but a kid on an iPad would use their finger and they would write that word right here on the line. So this is really, really, really nice on an iPad, because a highlight image question, you put whatever picture, chart, line paper, whatever you want, and there's the picture, and now the kids get to actually write on it. Will that grade for you? No, but in this case, you're not really wanting to grade this probably. This is the kids' words activity they're doing together. If they're at home, they can click review and then finish and turn this in, and you can see all the words they wrote, whether you're grading or not, you can see it. And at school, you could have them turn it in for that accountability piece if you want. Now, remember I told you this wasn't really designed to do this, because what we would do with the kids is come back to the first question. Remember, we can always go backwards and forwards. And we're going to make another word. And we're going to go back to 2, and we're going to write, almost wrote on the screen, even though I'm not touchscreen, write the second word. So when I'm done, I can send in my list of words to the teacher. I don't really care if this one's right or wrong. All I'm doing is using the fact that I can make these little letter cards out of this particular question. So we're taking the software and we're kind of twisting it and turning it and making it do something it wasn't really intended to do, but it works for some of our classroom purposes. So how did I do that? Well, this first question is fill in the blank, drag and drop. So fill in the blank, drag and drop. I went in here and I put shift underscore, response box, response box, response. However many letters I want in my words, I put that many response boxes. And down here for possible responses, I just need my little letters. Now, I will tell you, you could put letters by typing them in there, but they're really, really, really tiny. These are images. These are pictures. I made them in Google Drawing. I went in here and did word art and made a nice big letter A. And I did the whole alphabet like that. Yeah, it took me 5 minutes to make the whole alphabet, but now I have a folder with every single one of these letters. Anytime I add a test or add this, I can put those letters in really quick, or I can just copy this whole thing or use this again. Some of these assignments, you might use it again for different words, different number of blanks, different letters, you can do the same base activity over and over and over sometimes, and you don't have to recreate it. So that's how I did this one. This is fill in the blank, drag and drop. Now, what about the writing picture here? So here it is. I had to upload an image and I put my directions here, and then whatever image you upload, you can simply write on it. So let me show you this. Let's highlight image. I'm gonna have to make a new one here. Highlight image, directions, words, words, words. I'm gonna upload a picture from my machine, and remember I made the lined paper. I'm not gonna do lined paper this time because I don't think I have it handy. I will put on my plant label. All right, select. Okay, now I will tell you, when you make an upload image, you're gonna think you did something wrong. It's not, you don't see it right away. When you click preview question, there's the image you uploaded. So you could come in here, and again, this works a lot nicer on an iPad, and you could write with your finger on the iPad to label that picture. So this is highlight image question. Great, great homework, great, great activities for youngsters on the iPad. You can write on whatever picture, and that's a great activity to do for those particular kids. All right, we're running out of time. Let me go through my list here to make sure I've covered everything. Oh, I'm sorry. I did want to show you one more activity for the youngsters. So I did a homophones one the other day. And again, it's, I think, 5 questions. Very, very quick. Activity I wanted them to do in class, but I wanted to make it digital. Now, why wouldn't I just give them a piece of paper and a pencil? A, I don't want to run the copy machine all the time. B, now that I have it digital, I have it forever and ever and ever and ever. C, if I go virtual tomorrow, I can easily assign that at home. So yes, I do a little bit of front end work to make things digital on my Schoology assessments, but then I have them and I can use them. And this one really only took about 5 minutes. And all I did was, you guessed it, I snipped that right off the old interwebs. And I went to Google Drawing and made a couple pictures. So the kids are going to match homophones here. They're going to match. And then the original assignment wanted the kids to write a sentence with that homophone. Well, I didn't think writing a sentence on an iPad would be super, super easy with their finger. So I just did a traditional short answer here, a little essay question. They would just type that basic sentence right there to their iPad, and they would click submit when they're done. Am I grading this? Not necessarily. I'm making sure they know what these homophones are and they're interacting with them. And I've taken that and made it digital. And that wasn't super hard. I did like 8 words, and all of these short answer questions are pretty much the same format. So I went in here, I typed the first one up, I used my Control C, copy, Control V, paste, change the word on question 2. Control V, paste on question 3, change the word. And so in 5 minutes, I made this little digital assignment that I have forever. I can grade, send, and receive digitally. All right. So a quick overview. I have my outline over here, make sure I've covered everything for you. So why is this such an important tool? I think because you build the questions right in the software. You're not worried about connecting to Google or doing anything else. If you're in Schoology, voila, the kids can take it. It works well with iPads. It works well with Chromebooks. It works well with cell phones. It works well with whatever device you're doing. It integrates with your gradebook already. So if they take it in here, it goes right in your gradebook, and it's easy for the students to do. If you make an assessment using the assessment tool, if you make anything using the assessment tool, the kids are at home, they click that blue puzzle piece, they start it, they do it, they turn it in. Easy for you. And it's easy accountability for you. You can see when they took it, how long they took it, see their answers, and it's graded for you if you choose questions that grade for you. Not all question types will grade for you, but many of them will. And then it's good for practicing many different question types. Yes, there's some front end work to be had when you do this, but if you start building things on this, you have them next year, they grade for you, they're easy to send out and distribute if we have an e-learning day or if we're not in session. So it's really, really nice. And then copy paste is your friend. If you've got something in Google Docs already, you can copy paste those questions into there. And sometimes you won't always see the paste menu pop up. Control C, copy, Control V, paste. I know if I have some big wordy English language arts questions I'm making, I will copy and paste those all day so I don't have to retype everything. The nice thing about using this for homework is you're going to get scores back, not papers. So you don't have to go through and grade papers, but you also have that feedback to start class that day. When you're building homework assignments or anything, you can use the snip tool to snip pictures. You can use the labeling questions are really, really nice. Google Drawing can make any sort of picture that you need for whatever homework assignment or whatever you're doing. And then I really like fill in the blank text too. Fill in the blank text is nice if you don't want to do multiple choice, or as I call multiple guess, or something where half the answers are given for them already. It's really nice for bell ringers and mini assessments. It's quick. It saves paper. If you train your kids, they can pop in and do it right as you're taking attendance. It will grade for you if you set it up that way. If you don't, you can go over the answers with the kids, but it still delivers those nice questions to them without a half sheet of paper or on the board or some other way. It's nice for feedback. If you have it to grade for you, you can get that instant feedback. You can link it to your standards and see standards mastery. Awesome for e-learning because you have device compatibility. Kids click it, they start it, they take it. They can't say they didn't see this or wouldn't download this. They couldn't open Google Docs or any of that sort of stuff. You can embed videos and text. So again, I don't use Edpuzzle or some of those other pieces of software. I bring them to my assessments. I take my assessment that has all the questions right there, and I pop in the videos. I pop in my text, and then I ask nice questions that go along with it. So it links to all my software nicely. And then you can record your own videos right into this too. So that's kind of nice. And then my other favorite thing about this for e-learning is that analytics page. Not only can you see their grades, but when they took it, how long they took it, their answers, all that stuff. Really great for checking up and making sure kids at home on e-learning are doing what they're supposed to. And final, the digital activities. If you're doing something digital in class or even digital at home, it's nice to. I love Edpuzzle. I love Flipgrid. I love Seesaw. I love Google Slides. I love all these other pieces of software. But sometimes it just gets a bit much to link to this software and open this and do that. And a lot of times, if I think outside the box, I can make the Schoology Assessment Maker do what I want. Look at the question types, look at the options there, and really think about it in your brain. And you can always email me to ask too. I love taking a question that's not supposed to be made in there, like those letter sorts, and doing that. I really like the drawing on the highlight image. Really, really nice iPad question. So you can create lots of little activities right there in that Schoology assessment piece. It's quick and simple. You don't always have to grade them. It could be just a way for them to do it. And then again, if it's e-learning, they're sending it. It's coming right back to you in the Schoology assessment right there on the grading page, and you can see their responses, whether you want to grade them or just make sure they understand the concept. And again, it's easier to manipulate on all kinds of devices. So that is Schoology assessments more than assessments. Yes, I can make a test, but it makes a good e-learning assignment. It's great for video responses because the kids can respond video in some sorts of questions. You can put videos on there. It's really cool for digital class activities, especially on iPads. I like doing my homework on here sometimes. Not every assignment, no. Other pieces of software sometimes work better for other assignments, but simple question types, videos and questions, read this text, answer these questions, label image, make really, really easy homeworks that grade for me. Bell ringers, really cool. I like the workflow. Kids pop it on, take those 3 questions, and we are moving on in class without having to go back over handout pencil and paper and all that stuff. I like being able to manipulate objects and annotate pictures with an iPad. That touchscreen device, if you have a drag and drop, works nicely. If you have the right on the highlight image, works nicely. And then finally, my favorite thing about this is practicing multiple digital response types. You don't ever want a kid to miss an online test or some sort of test because they don't know how to drag and drop or highlight or use those tools. And so doing some of your bell ringers and your homeworks and your e-learning with these particular question types can make sure they have that tech literacy, and that's not holding them back when it's testing time. As always, you know how to get a hold of me. You got my email address amongst community schools teachers, and on my instructional technology coach page, Coach's Corner in Schoology, there's all kinds of tools about assessments if you want to dig deeper into the different question types. Have a good evening.